Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Computer Applications Online at Ozarka College. In this Part 3 video for Excel Module 3, I'm going to start on page 3-30 and work through page 3-39 in your textbook. Alright, so in this particular Part 3 of the video, what I'm going to do basically is we're going to add the Sparkline chart to the worksheet, and then we're going to format the worksheet the way it describes in the textbook. Alright, so on page 3-30, it wants us to add a Sparkline chart to the worksheet in the chart column of the worksheet, which is column I. Alright, and so what we're going to need to do is click on cell I4 in the worksheet. And it talks about what a Sparkline chart is there on page 3-30, and it's basically just a chart that shows trends over time, trends in your data over time. And basically what we're wanting to do in column I of our worksheet is have a chart that actually shows the trends in the numbers for from one month to the next in our worksheet. So from January through February all the way to June, the chart that we're about to insert, the Sparkline chart, is just going to basically show the trends in that data for basically each row of the worksheet. Alright, and so what we're going to need to do, again, is make sure cell I4 is selected, and then we're going to click the Insert tab up on the ribbon. And then we're going to click the line button in the Sparklines group. So you'll notice there is a Sparklines group of the Insert tab over here on the right hand side of the Insert tab sheet. And you'll notice there are three options in the Sparklines group. There's line, column, and win-loss. For right now, we're going to click on line. Okay. We're going to click on line there, okay? And it'll open up the Create Sparklines dialog box, and it's going to ask us to specify which range we want to include in our chart data. Alright, and so in our case it's going to be B4 through G4. So we're going to click on cell B4 and drag through cell G4. And it'll add that range to the data range column or box there in the Create Sparklines dialog box. So now it should read B4 through G4 in that data range box. And once you make sure that you've got the correct range selected, you're going to click the OK button, and it will show the Sparkline chart there in cell I4, which is just showing the trends in the data. You'll notice it starts out high, then it kind of goes down low, and then back up, and then back down again. And that's just showing the trends in the revenue for the 6 months that we have data for revenue in our worksheet. Alright, so we've got that done. Alright, now on the bottom of page 3-31, it tells us that we need to change the Sparkline chart style and then copy the Sparkline chart. Alright, so page 3-32, we're going to click the More button in the Tools tab, the Sparkline Tools Design tab up on the ribbon. You'll notice there is a Style More button here. We're going to click on the More button for the Style Gallery, and it opens up all the various options for the styles for the Sparkline chart. And then it points in the little picture there on figure 3-39 on page 3-32 in your book. It points you to the correct style that we want to apply, which is in the first column in the fourth row. It's the blue Sparkline style accent 1 lighter 40%. So you're going to click on that style, and it just changes the style for the Sparkline chart. Alright, once we've done that, we're going to make sure that cell I4 is still selected. And then we're going to use the fill handle. We're going to point to the fill handle and drag down through cell I16. Alright, and what it does is it just copies that Sparkline chart all the way down through cell I16, and it's going to include a Sparkline chart in column I for every row that includes values, that includes numbers. Okay, you'll notice it skipped over the rows that didn't contain any values. Alright, and then you're just going to click on cell I18 just to deselect that range that we had selected there. Alright, on the bottom of page 3-32, it wants us to change the Sparkline type. So right now we have the line type of Sparkline chart selected and inserted in column I of our worksheet. What we want to do is change that Sparkline chart type to a column chart instead. So to do that, you're going to click on cell I4 and use the block plus sign mouse pointer to drag down through I16 just to select that range. Alright, that includes the Sparkline charts. And then what we're going to do is click on the Sparkline Tools Design tab up here on the ribbon. You'll notice right now we have line selected as the type for the Sparkline chart. What we want to do is click on column to change it from a line chart to a column chart. Alright, you'll notice all of the charts that were line charts now become column charts. Alright, and then once we've done that, we're going to click on cell I18 just to deselect everything so we can see the results of our formatting. And then we're going to click the Save button to save the changes that we've made to the worksheet and to the workbook. Alright, on the bottom of page 3-33, it talks about formatting the worksheet. On page 3-34 at the top, it shows us what the formatted worksheet should look like. And so let's kind of go through the steps, starting on the bottom of page 3-34 to format the worksheet. Alright, so it tells us to select the range B4 through H4. So B4 through H4, which is that top row of numbers in the worksheet. And what we're basically wanting to do here is format the top and bottom row of numbers for each section of the worksheet as currency with a floating dollar sign. Okay, so we're going to need to select more than one non-adjacent range. So anytime you want to select non-adjacent ranges in Excel, remember you have to use the control key. So once we get that first row of numbers selected, we're going to hold down the control key as we select B6 through H6, and continuing to hold down the control key, we're going to select B9 through H9, B14 through H14, and then finally B16 through H16. And then release the control key and release the mouse, and it will select all those non-adjacent ranges. And then very simply what we're going to do is click the number dialog box launcher up on the ribbon, on the home tab of the ribbon. Alright, in the number group you're just going to point to that little dialog box launcher there for the number group and click on it. And it'll open up the Format Cells dialog box. And we're going to choose currency in the category box. And then we're going to choose 2 decimal places in the decimal places box. For the symbol, we're going to make sure that a dollar sign is selected there. So you may have to click the down arrow and choose the dollar sign there, so we make sure the dollar sign appears in our cell. And then we're going to choose the last option under negative numbers. Alright, so just make sure all that's selected. 2 decimal places, dollar sign for the symbol, and then the last option under negative numbers. Once you have all that selected, click OK, and it'll apply that floating dollar sign in 2 decimal places to all those ranges that we had selected. Alright, so we've got some of the numbers formatted in our worksheet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to format the remaining numbers, which are going to be basically all the numbers that we didn't already format. Alright, so we're going to need to click on cell B5 and drag through H5, because that was the only row of numbers in that top part of the worksheet that we didn't format previously. So B5 through H5, and then hold down the control key as you select B10 through H13. So we should have those two ranges selected, B5 through H5 and B10 through H13. And then you're going to go to that same number dialog box launcher that we used before and click currency and make sure 2 decimal places appears in the decimal places box. For the symbol, we don't want any symbol to appear in the cell, because these are the kind of the middle rows of numbers in the worksheet that we don't want to add a dollar sign to. Alright, and so 2 decimal places, no symbol, and then the last option under negative numbers, so make sure all that's selected correctly, and then click OK. And so you'll notice basically all it did, you might click an empty cell just to deselect everything so you can see the results of your formatting. So basically we added basically the comma style format to all the middle cells with numbers in between the top row and bottom row. So this row 5 that includes numbers, we basically added what's the comma style format, which is basically just the accounting style without the dollar sign. And of course we had to use the number dialog box launcher so that we could add a floating dollar sign to the top and bottom rows of each set of numbers in the worksheet instead of the fixed dollar sign. Okay? Alright, so we've got that done. Now let's see, we need to, on the bottom of page 3-36, we need to format the titles in the worksheet. So we're going to click on, you can either click on cell A1 or you can press Control Home on your keyboard and it'll make cell A1 the active cell. And then what you're going to do is, once you have cell A1 as the active cell in the worksheet, you're going to point to the column A heading above column A, where the mouse pointer is pointing down towards the column, and click, and it'll select that entire column A. And then what it wants us to do is bold all of the titles in column A. Alright, so you're just going to, after you have the column A selected, you're going to click the bold button up on the font group of the home tab. Alright, and it'll just bold all of those row headings in column A. Alright, then you're going to click on cell A1, which is the main title, and change the font size of that cell to 28 point. And then you're going to click on cell A2 and change the font size to 16, which is our subtitle. And then you're going to select the range A1 through I2, which is that part of the worksheet there. And we're going to apply the dark blue text to lighter 80% fill color. So we're going to go over here to our fill color button arrow and click on it to bring up the palette or gallery of various colors that we can apply to the fill of those cells. And we want to find dark blue text to lighter 80%, which is that one right there. Dark blue text to lighter 80%. So we're going to click on that one. Alright. Then with that cells A1 through I2 still selected, we're also going to change the font color to dark blue accent 1. So we're going to go over here to the font color button arrow and click on it. And then we're going to find dark blue accent 1. It's going to be on that first row under theme colors on the 5th column. Dark blue accent 1. Okay? And then once you have that applied, you might click on an empty cell just to see the results of the formatting, make sure it's correct. Just kind of look on page 3-37 and verify that you've formatted the top part of the worksheet correctly there. Alright, then on page 3-37 we're going to apply some more formatting to the remaining part of our worksheet here. So we're going to select cells A3 through I3, which is basically all of our column titles. And we're going to apply the heading 3 style. So we're going to click the Styles More button and choose the heading 3 as the cell style. And then we're going to select the range A6 through H6. A6 through H6. And then while holding down the control key, you're going to select A14 through H14 and A16 through H16. Alright, once you have those three ranges selected, you're going to click the Total Cell Style option in the Styles gallery. So we're going to apply the Total Cell Style to those ranges. Alright, then you might want to click on an empty cell just to deselect everything so you can see the results of your formatting. And just look on the picture there on the bottom of page 3-47 in your book, and just make sure, or the bottom of page 3-37 in your book, figure 3-47. Just look at that figure 3-47 there, and it will show you what the formatting should look like at this point in your worksheet. Alright, next thing we want to do is step 4 under to assign cell styles to non-adjacent rows and colors to a cell. On page 3-37, we want to click on cell A4, and we're going to click the Fill Color button to apply the same fill color that we applied to the top portion of the worksheet there, to the title and subtitle text. Okay, and then also click the Font Color button to apply the same font color that we applied earlier. Okay, and again, look on figure 3-47 on the bottom of page 3-37 in your book and make sure that all the formatting is correct. Alright, page 3-38, we're going to copy the formatting that we applied to cell A4. We're going to copy that to some of the other cells of our worksheet. Alright, so if necessary, make sure that cell A4 is selected. Okay. If you didn't already have it selected, you'll need to select cell A4, and then you're going to go up to the Format Painter button in the clipboard group of the Home tab and double click on it, and that just opens up or kind of activates Format Painter, and you'll notice the mouse pointer changes to a block plus sign with a little paintbrush next to it. That just tells you that Format Painter is turned on. And then on step 2 on page 3-38, it wants us to click on cell A6 to apply that same formatting, basically to copy that formatting from cell A4 to cell A6. And then you're also going to drag through the range A16 through H16. So A16 through H16. And that just applies that formatting. And then click the Format Painter button again to toggle that feature off. Alright, just to kind of turn that Format Painter feature off in Excel. Alright, once you've done that, you'll notice when we applied the formatting to the numbers in row 16, when we used the Format Painter to copy that formatting down, it removed the dollar signs from the numbers in row 16. So what we're going to need to do now, that last bulleted item there under step 2 on page 3-38 wants us to reapply that floating dollar sign format. So we're going to need to select B16 through H16. Alright. And then go up to the Number dialog box launcher up on the ribbon. Alright, just like we did before, and then click Currency as the category, 2 decimal places, dollar sign, and then the last option under negative numbers, and then click OK. and then click on an empty cell so you can kind of see the results of your formatting. Just make sure that that last row of numbers in row 16 there of your worksheet, make sure that all those numbers have a floating dollar sign. Alright? Alright. Now on page 3-39, we're going to do a little bit more formatting, alright, to this worksheet. Alright, so we're going to click on cell A18. Click on cell A18, and we're going to change the font size of that text to 9 point. Alright, and then we're going to italicize and underline that text in cell A18. So we're going to click the italic button and the underline button to apply that formatting up on the Home tab. Then we're going to select the range A19 through B25, which are basically all of our what-if assumptions. And we're going to change that font size to 9 as well. So we're going to change that to 9 point in the font size box. Alright, then we're going to select the range A18 through B25. And we're going to click the the fill color button. I'm going to click the fill color button to apply that same fill color that we previously applied. And then we're also going to click the font color button to apply that same font color that we applied previously. Alright, and then you're going to click on an empty cell just to deselect the text that we had selected there, so you can see the results of your formatting, and then click the Save button to save all the changes to the formatting. Alright, and at this point you'll need to kind of just double check all the formatting on your worksheet, make sure it's correct. Just use the pictures in your book to check to make sure it's correct. Alright, and this is going to be the end of this part 3 video for Excel Module 3. In the last part of the video, which I'll do next time, I will take you through the remaining pages of Module 3. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you.